Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody, and we've got Wi-Fi today. That's always a good help. Amadeus, Jim here with you on a Tuesday afternoon. Um, Yesterday we talked about a lot of stuff. Nobody heard it, but we did speak about it. Amadeus, it's good to have you. What's going on today, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just getting ready to watch this the second leg of the Champions League semifinal. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on in the soccer world.
Well, this semifinal is going to be a good one. Um, Now we talked about it again, and as I said, yesterday was not necessarily did a lot of people see it, but we talked about it. Trust me. Um, let's talk again about what you got going there. I think we talked about City looked like they were going to waltz, but not so much anymore.
Yeah, so Manchester City, before that first leg, they were the better team on paper. They were absolutely rolling teams. Where Real Madrid, they haven't been the best. Like they've already lost the La Liga title. They something like 12 points behind Barcelona. So their league performance hasn't been great this year. And City, they came from behind, took the title from Arsenal, and now they're just rolling their way to it. But yeah, honestly, they escaped. They escaped that first leg with a 1-1 draw. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the second leg because they, as much as they controlled the possession in that match, they weren't able to do much with the ball. So yeah, there definitely should be some goals because whoever scores first in this match will probably just open it right up because the other team will have no choice but to push their attack, and neither one of these teams wants to go out. So they both have the abilities to score some goals, so definitely probably could see an over in that one.
Who are they going to see in the title game?
In the title,
Yeah.
honestly, it's tough from that one. I think you're probably going to see Inter Milan on one side, just
Mhm.
because AC Milan is my team. I have no faith in them though. I wouldn't take actually. I wouldn't take Inter Milan in today's game, just
Mhm.
because they have the 2-0 lead on aggregate, and now
Mhm.
that AC Milan has Rafael Leao coming back for this match, their attack's going to be a lot more dangerous. They were starting to shift the gears a bit in the second half of that first leg. They were looking like the better team as Inter sat back. So, if you get an Inter team that comes out and tries to defend their 2-0 lead, then AC Milan's probably going to score in this game and make it, cut that lead in half. So I would probably take AC Milan in today's game just because Inter is about a plus 110, so you're getting a lot of value on Milan to win or the draw, knowing Milan could win this game by one and still not advance because Inter would have the aggregate. So I definitely think you'll probably see Inter in the finals on the one side, but I wouldn't take them in this second leg today. On the other side, though, honestly, Manchester City and Real Madrid are both very good teams. That could be one that stays tied all the way through extra time and goes to penalties. And if we go to penalties, Jim, anything can happen. We already know anybody can win. Me and you and Sean could go out there and beat Argentina in penalties because anything can happen in penalties.
And normally does. It's crazy. I just that's the one part when it gets to penalties. I'm like, oh God. I mean, no, please. I'm
And
begging you.
honestly, it's a bit of a crappy way to end things, but at the same time, you've already played 2 hours. You can't have these guys like the NHL, how they do the overtime there. You can't have them
Right.
just playing 6 hours until someone scores a goal. Sometimes teams don't score for like 5 straight matches.
Well, okay then. It'd be like cricket. We're our 43rd day, and we don't have a winner yet. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's gonna be a wild. The Nuggets and the Lakers tonight open things up in Denver, and that should be a pretty interesting matchup. You get the Lakers who were coming in. They knocked out the Warriors, they started with a play-in game. So, it's been a wild ride for, the Lakers. They're monitoring some injuries. Mo Barba, who has an ankle. You've got LeBron James, who has a little bit of a foot tweak, and another one, Anthony Davis, also has a foot tweak. So, we'll keep our eyes open on that one as to see who is going on. Now, so far, um, James is, averaging 23.4 points a game. And, Anthony Davis is at 14 points a game. And the Lakers are sixth in the league in scoring. So they've been putting points on the board while the Nuggets are. Here's the thing that jumped out at me on stats with the Nuggets. They're 40-7 at home. That that's home cooking, man. You're 40-7 at home. That's definitely making life good on your side.
Yeah, they've won every single home game in the playoffs so far, and I believe they've covered in those
Yeah.
home games too. So, yeah, teams have been struggling obviously to play in this altitude. We saw Minnesota struggle in those games in the first round, and we saw Phoenix with their no bench struggle. Obviously, now the Lakers. It's interesting because the Lakers have been, one of the hottest teams over the last few weeks, ever since they made all those moves around the trade deadline, got rid of Westbrook, and brought in Vanderbilt and a few others. All of a sudden, this team, as you said, has been cooking lately. So, and it's interesting if you actually look, there's a similar pattern in both of their first series. So they've won. They came out. They haven't had the home advantage in either series, but they came out and won game one in both series, and then went on to win both series in 6 games. So they really come out strong in that first game.
Yeah, and one of the other things too is that I just think that I think the altitude will be a problem for the Lakers. I just do. They're older. It's an older team, and if you haven't played in that altitude, and you've got that, and you get the crowd. I mean, look. The Nuggets have played outstanding basketball all season. There's no reason to believe that they're going to fade in the playoffs. Now, they're a -6 tonight. So would you lay the points and take the Nuggets?
That's a tough one for me because I've seen 6.5 at some places. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely money has come in on the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a very public play, but it's tough. The Lakers, they've performed well in game ones. They clearly they know the importance of taking the home advantage back in the series. But at the same time, this Nuggets team, as you said, 40-7 at home this year. They were great at home during the regular season, one of the best teams in the NBA. They've been great at home. They have that altitude advantage. And I completely agree with you with the fact that the Lakers are an older team. And so that's really going to – I find it really comes into play in the second half. Specifically the fourth quarter is really when you see the fatigue start to settle in. There was one of their games against Phoenix. You saw the Suns were right in it, tied, even leading up until the third quarter, and then they got outscored by 13 in the fourth. And again, that goes to your starters had to play 3 quarters because you had no bench, and eventually you just run out of gas in that altitude. You can't breathe anymore. And that's where it showed up in the most important time of the game. The Nuggets just were absolutely all over. And the same thing could happen in this game to the Lakers. So, maybe the Lakers are a play in the first half and the Nuggets might be a second half type thing, or even again, the live betting. We always talk about the right times to live bet. This might be one to live bet, especially, if you see the Lakers winning or they're up big early in the first half, you could take the Nuggets to come back at home, because, or even if they're down at halftime, take the Nuggets to win the second half, because they'll probably come out and then that fatigue will settle in.
Yeah. And I think that's where you might get your 6 points is, when they just, and what happens in situations like that, surprisingly, and I would have thought, you're having, it's like the wind is it's harder to breathe from a standpoint. You're just whipped. But what that does really is it affects your legs. So you don't have the shot, right? You don't have that square up shot that you would have. And so you become like a boxer who's leg heavy. And so, that's the problem. And it's funny because it's not just we think obviously of Colorado, but there's also the situation in Utah. So there are places that you don't think of having, altitude issues, but clearly those are two of them. And so, look, I think that the Lakers could certainly afford to lose a game and still be in the hunt. But tonight, I don't know. Everything seems to be pushing toward the Nuggets in this one.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they're the number one seed in the Western Conference, so definitely this was a consistent team all year, led by Mr. Two-time MVP the last 2 years. So, he didn't win the MVP this year because he's got bigger things on the mind.
Yeah, definitely one of those things where you're sitting back going, well, he could have, but not so much. It's crazy, but it's fun to speculate on what's going on, and and we're going to see tomorrow, not tonight, but tomorrow we'll get to see the situation with regard to the 76ers. I'm sorry, the Celtics and the Heat, and that should be just as entertaining a series as the one in the West. So we'll see how that works out. What was I going to? I was going to ask you with regard to anything on the baseball card today that you see of interest.
Yeah, I do have a few plays in baseball for sale over at pickadvisor.com and bigowl.com, so you can
check them out.
Those. Yeah, but we were on the Dodgers yesterday. It was a little tense at the end, but they pulled through, so that was good. There's definitely some interesting matchups on the board here, like the Castillo Pivetta one is a little interesting to me. The Mariners and the Red Sox, all of a sudden, like, at the beginning of the year, I thought they were going to be bad. I thought they were going to be the worst team in the division. They came out and they proved me right in the first 2 weeks. Then they got really hot and they went on that streak where they won 7, 8, 9 straight, something like that. And now they're just complete cold again. And that's the Red Sox for you, right? So
they just got swamped. And they're not looking good either. So that's the problem. There's a unique game to me, and unique because they don't play often. And the Rays split with the Yankees over the weekend in the Bronx, and they in a very rare situation, the Rays then went over, took the long 8-mile drive from the Bronx to Citi Field over in Long Island. And so they'll play. The Rays will play the Mets for a 3-game series starting tonight over at Citi Field. So it's not often that you see a team go play the Yankees and then literally not have to change hotels, but just get in the bus and go 8 miles in a different direction. So that's an unusual situation, but it should be fun to watch. To me, that's one of the good games tonight, and it's been some pretty wild stuff early on in Major League Baseball. We were watching the Orioles. The Orioles have been, totally amazing. I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen. And so it's really been kind of fun to see some of this stuff. And as bad as the Red Sox have been, if you look at the standings, they would be in second place in almost every other division in the American League.
Yeah, aren't they? They're above 500, right?
Yeah, or the
Yeah.
entire group is above 500.
Yeah, so they'll be in first in the AL Central.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, absolutely right, and that's why, when I say the Red Sox are going to be bad, I mean they're going to be the worst in the division. Now,
Right.
if they're going to finish above 500 or not, like I don't have them. That's the thing, right? I don't have them as a stellar team. Like they could still
Yeah.
win 80 games and it wouldn't shock me. But I don't have this team getting to the playoffs. Definitely not out of
No,
that division.
they're probably one of the teams that benefited most by this new scheduling situation where you don't have to play the teams in your division 19 times. And so I think they benefited from it. But unfortunately, they're going to have some problems. And it all boils down to pitching, as it always does. And
Well, you know who else is benefiting? The Rays.
oh, absolutely.
Once again, they drop a series to another division rival over the weekend, the Yankees. Yet they still have the best record in the MLB, and more than half their losses have come to division opponents.
Yeah. And you've got the Yankees and the Blue Jays tonight, which should be a lot of fun. A lot was made, by the way, of two of my favorite guys, Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez, who are the Jays announcing crew.
Oh, I know them.
They definitely were kind of intimating, not coming out and saying it, but intimating that maybe, just maybe, Aaron Judge was looking around to see if he could get a tip off on some of these pitches that he was getting, because he was plunking them over the fence there and getting some people upset with that. So they didn't quite, they walked it right up to the line, but they came close to saying, oh, well, I'm not sure. They literally got the camera guys to close. You could see they were shooting the shots of Aaron's eyes as where he was looking, like maybe he was looking over to the bench or to where the catcher was or what was going on. And so after the game, somebody mentioned it, and Judge, being, the kind of, easygoing guy that he is, laughed and he goes, "You know what I was doing?" And he says, "I was looking over to make sure that Boone didn't get thrown out of the game for yelling at the umpire about a call that had happened, in the batter before me." So he said, I was really paying more attention to him than I was about anything else. And he just, kind of laughed it off. But I don't really think, given the fact that the guy had 61 home runs last year, that he really needs a lot of help in that regard. I don't think that they need to cheat to get him to hit the ball out of the park. But made for very entertaining conversation last night. And Seattle's, playing Boston today. There's the team. We always look at Seattle and go, before the season, and go, wow, there's a team that, they've got all the potential in the world, and they just never seem to live up to it.
Yeah, this is a team a lot of people had winning the division this year because of the season they had last year. And so far, of the two teams last year that, the two bad teams that were really starting to make waves, it's the Orioles that have come out and proved to be that team that's going to get into the playoffs this year, where the Mariners are starting to regress a bit. And, even their ace here, they have Luis Castillo on the mound, and he is the better pitcher. I think the Mariners probably should win this one. They've been playing better than the Red Sox lately anyway, but also Castillo, he hasn't been awful, but he's definitely regressed. Last year, he was posting a lot of starts with 0 or 1 earned run and going seven innings each. But now this year, it's been a lot of 2 or 3 earned runs, and it's not bad, but it's a difference. It's still a difference, and it shows that bit of regression. He is giving up a bit more runs this year.
There's if you look at the schedule for today, and maybe it just might just be me, but there's a lot of games of teams that you just they don't play each other often. Like there's Arizona and Oakland, right? Kansas
Houston, the
City,
Cubs.
Houston and the Cubs, Kansas City at San Diego, uh, the Twins and the Dodgers. And Kershaw's pitching tonight for those of you who are Kershaw fans.
The Braves and the Rangers.
Yeah, the Pirates and the Detroit Tigers. So yeah, there's a list of games where you're sitting there going, okay. I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but it is going to be interesting. That Twins Dodgers thing, and that's just, that was a World Series back in 1965, but it's been a long time since that happened. Oakland, Arizona, I swear, honestly, you could give me tickets to that game. I don't think I'd go.
You don't want to go see it? What if it was Arizona Vegas?
Oh well, that's a whole different thing. Right?
Yeah, right. Slap another city name on them and a new uniform, and same piece.
Vegas, of course, it's Vegas. I mean, come on, there's going to be one tonight that's going to be kind of fun, and that's the Angels and Baltimore. So Ohtani will be in the park, and the reason that I say that that's interesting is that Ohtani's got that great home run stride, and if he can clear the wall, which most of the guys do, there are places. There's a place called Utah Avenue, which is the street that runs between the stadium and the B&O warehouse. So if you've ever watched on TV, you'll see that over the right field fence, you'll see a building on the other side of the street, and that's the B&O warehouse. Anyway, there's a street that's there, and it's blocked off. You can't drive on it, but it's where people walk back and forth from parking or from transport to get to the stadium. And when someone hits a home run significantly distanced, they put a marker in the street. So, Shohei Ohtani actually has 2 markers in that street, and he's only played there once. I mean, one series. So the big thing tonight is, will Shohei Ohtani be able to, put a third marker on Utah Street? And you have to clear Boo Pal's Barbecue to get it there. So we'll have to see if that's the case tonight over at Camden Yard. But yeah, Pittsburgh and Detroit plays in, and it's kind of interesting because Pittsburgh had got to a good start, and then they kind of fell off, and then they started picking it back up again. So we'll see how that's going. So there's that. And I know that you guys, the Jays and the Yankees have been they've kind of been at each other for the last couple of times. So we'll have to see how that Yankees and that Jays game shows up tonight, because as I said before, there's some talk about Aaron Judge just not having I looking back at the catcher or whatever it might be, and you're sitting there going like, do you really think he needs help? I mean, honestly, doesn't look to me like he needs any help. But interesting stuff nonetheless. So by all means, go over and check out Amadeus's. Go ahead, give the plug again. Where to get it? And I think the link is in the show box. I'm pretty sure it is. But
BigAl.com and PickAdvisor.com. You can go get my baseball picks for today. We're coming off that winning day yesterday with the Dodgers.
There you go. Go blue, Dodger blue. So and there's that one. But it's been fun in that regard. And the game hasn't gotten started yet. This is soccer game hasn't been started, has it?
No. It'll be starting at 3:00. So
okay. Because for some reason I just quickly took a quick look at the schedule, and something says started at 2:00. Now maybe the pregame show started at 2:00. Maybe
Yeah, possibly.
that's where I was probably checking. But so we'll see that getting underway in a very short period of time. So anything else we should be looking out for today?
Honestly, it's not a big day in sports. Obviously, with you got the NBA and the NHL. The NHL is off till Thursday now that they know what their finals are going to be. Obviously, you got the NBA game, but it's just one game a day really for the rest, and then soon it's going to be just one game every other day when we get to the finals. So yeah, we're in that time where it's just baseball, and like I said, other than the Champions League match, there's like some Turkish league, and that's about it. So unless you want to go watch some Turkey, all eyes are going to be on this Champions League match semifinal for sure.
That makes sense. And the other thing is, you and I have to on Thursday. We have, or Friday. We got to talk some golf because it's we're getting right up there for a major coming up this.
That's right, the 18th, I think, right?
Yep.
It's right before the 2-4 weekend or whatever it would be.
So we're gonna have some golf to have fun with. See who hits that card for us on that one. So we'll check that out. I'll tell you what, folks. Thanks so much for dropping by. We greatly appreciate it, and we will be back tomorrow. And come on back and talk. We'll have some more soccer to talk about, some more baseball to talk about, and we'll find out what happened in Denver tonight, and then we'll have to talk about what's going to happen with Boston and Miami. So plenty of fun stuff to chat about. We'll see you tomorrow at 2:00. Until then, for Amadeus, I'm Jim. Take care.